Hi everyone, I'm Brad DeRoche, and today is day one in our 30 days of guitar technique. So we're looking at the fundamentals of guitar technique, and today is our first day, and we're going to look at the most basic thing today, and that is how to sit well. So in this lesson today, there are 5 basic ideas that I want you to remember, and I want you to try to apply them to your practicing. All right, so try to remember all 5 of these points and again apply them to your practice. The first one, the most important thing, is that you have the proper height of chair. Now, many people don't think much about how chair height affects us, but it has a great deal of impact on how we play. So a good rule of thumb for determining the proper height of a chair is to look at the height of the back of your knee. So if I turn sideways here, you can hopefully see this. The back of my knee here, whatever height that is right here, that is the height of the chair I should be using. So if you'll notice here, this artist bench that I have is basically the same height as the seat is the same height as the back of my knee. Okay, so for most people this is going to be somewhere around 15 inches. 15 inches, 16, 17 maybe, or slightly less, 13 or 14. Depends on our height. But if you do this, if your leg is perpendicular to the floor, here, this part of the leg, then the back of the knee, the height of that should be the height of our chair. Now, most chairs are too tall and nowadays, and so they tend to kind of lift us up, and so we're sort of in this position. The guitar is always sliding off. So make sure you get a good chair. You may have to raise it up or lower it depending on your needs, or find a different one. These artist benches are great because they are actually adjustable, so you could adjust the height of this. For me, all the way down is the right height for me. Okay, so number 1, find the chair with the proper height, and the way you do that is to look at the back of the knee and the height of that, how high that is. That should be the bench of the chair, or the seat of the chair. All right, next we want to look at how we actually sit on the chair. First and foremost, I want you to identify the sit bones. Those are the 2 bones that are basically the bottom of the pelvis, and so you'll feel one in each cheek. So if you rock side to side like this, you'll be able to feel the sit bone on each side. And what you want to try to do when you're rocking side to side is to make sure that you have an even amount of pressure or weight on each sit bone when you are practicing. So doing this, just quickly rocking back and forth, will call attention to how much weight or pressure you have on each one, and you want to make sure that it's an even amount. Okay? So number 2, sit bones, even amount of weight or pressure on each one when you are sitting. Next, number 3, I want you to sit as if you have a tail, and that tail needs to go out behind you. So I'm going to turn sideways for this. If I had a tail going out behind me, it looks kind of funny. If I sit in such a way that my tail goes out behind me, that means I have to rock my pelvis forward this way. If I relax my pelvis, my lower back here, then what would happen to my tail? It would go underneath me. I would tuck it under. We don't want to do that. So we want to keep our tail out behind us, which means we want to rock the pelvis forward. All right? So if this was the pelvic bone here, what we were doing is rocking or tilting the top of it forward slightly. And what this does then is it will help to bring the small of the back here up above the pelvis, instead of allowing it to go back here and be behind the pelvic bone. So sit as if you have a tail. This is number 3. I know it sounds kind of strange to talk about, but it's actually a really good description, I think, and it's quite effective. So that's number 3. Sit as if you have a tail, rocking the pelvic bone forward, which will help to give you good posture. Number 4, you want to keep your torso aligned above your pelvic bone and your shoulders level. All right, so there you have it. So torso is straight, shoulders are level, and so when we're sitting here, our torso should be directly aligned above our pelvic bone, and from this direction, our shoulders need to be level. Make sure when you're sitting and you're practicing, you don't do this a lot. Many people do when they're holding the instrument. They might sit well and then all of a sudden pick up the instrument and you notice that they're sitting like this or like this. All right, so you have to take care of this stuff. Sit well first and then find a way to position the instrument around good seated posture. All right, next. Lastly, number 5, we want to make sure that we keep our head aligned above the shoulder when we practice. Now, many people tend to practice with their head down like this, looking at the instrument. And it's okay to do that sometimes when you need to look, but you need to develop in your practice the ability to sit with your head aligned above your torso. All right, so that's number 5. Keep your head above your torso. So let's do a quick review. 5 things that we looked at today. First one is finding the proper height of chair, and that's determined by the height of the back of your knee. Number 2, we want to make sure that our sit bones are level and that we have an even amount of pressure or weight on each sit bone. Number 3, we want to make sure that we rock our pelvis forward so we're sitting as if we have a tail. Okay. Number 4, we want to make sure that our torso is level above the sit bones and our shoulders are level. So torso is straight rather, shoulders are level. And then lastly, number 5, we want to make sure that our head is above our torso so it's not out, hanging out in front of us. All right, so those are the 5 things that you should focus on with sitting well and apply them to your practice. And I'll see you in our next lesson. We'll talk about how to position the guitar using all these new guitar apparatuses between footrests and guitanos and Dynaret cushions and all that stuff. All right, hope it helps you today, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Cheers.